Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Victoria 3, as we're going to start a new series today with the Sphere of Influence DLC. So this released back in June, but this will be the first campaign that we're doing on the channel, and we're going to be playing as Russia. So while this expansion does add a lot of mechanics that apply for everybody, the content focus was on the Great Game in Central Asia between Great Britain and Russia. So I thought it would be best to play as one of those two countries for our first campaign, and we're going to do Russia. So let's go ahead and jump into the sandbox version of the game. We have not played Victoria 3 on the channel in a very long time. It's been like, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that. I decided to, give the game a break. I felt that it was lacking features and things to do, and just the overall gameplay loop wasn't all that entertaining after you had played about 4 or 5 campaigns. There wasn't really much of a difference between countries and how you played the game. Also, the warfare system was pretty bad, and so that has all been changed in patches since that last series. I think it was the 1.5 patch, I might be wrong on the version number. That made significant changes to the way the warfare system worked, and so we'll be looking at all that in this series. I'm not going to be explaining everything that's changed. I might just make note of it, simply because this expansion came out a couple months ago, and those other patches, they came out a while ago. So if you have an interest in this game, then you're probably already familiar with many of those changes. We're going to leave the game rules as is. I think these are all default. I don't know that I made any adjustments there. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on in. First thing we're going to go ahead and do is get a technology selected, specifically the Central Archives tech here, because our taxation capacity is terrible in many of our highly populated states, and so this will increase it by 25, but more importantly, it gives us a new filing system for the government administration buildings. In fact, we're probably not going to want to build government administration buildings despite our low bureaucracy. We could try and build a few, I suppose. It just might be a waste of time because they're just not very effective overall until we get that technology. So we can build these, but with each one of them only increasing it by 10, we'd have to build a stupid amount to really have any effect here. So what I think we're going to get first is a university. Also, we are seeing that market access is a bit low in some of these locations, which we do not have the ability to construct rails yet. So therefore, we won't be able to improve that, or at least not with construction. Let's go and start with a university. I don't know we have very many, just 3. So let's build 1 in Moscow, and then we'll build 3 of the government administration buildings just to help out with the bureaucracy. We'll build them here in the locations where they're getting the tax waste, the negative tax collection, but again, we're not going to be able to fix that problem. So we'll build those in these 3 locations here. We're also going to need some construction sectors. You see, we don't have much construction at the moment. Might want to go ahead and change this up to the iron frame buildings. We will have some issues with tools. Iron might get a bit expensive as well, but we can always try and trade for those, just to get ourselves a bit more construction points. And then we're going to invest in 1 construction sector. Let me see where we currently have those. We'll get it in Moscow. The next thing we need to do is set up production of resources, specifically the gold mines here. We're going to want to build as many of these as we can. So now let's take a look at our economy, what our current market prices are. We see that the tea is a bit expensive. I think that'll adjust. They can always, our pops can always purchase something else as well. Fruits are a bit high. We could easily adjust that with production methods. We'll want to fix the problem with the artillery too. But overall, it's not too bad. Let's take a look at the very lowly priced items. Okay, so now that we know what our prices look like, let's go into our trade routes and see if we want to make any adjustments. Some of these might be highly unprofitable. So we're currently exporting liquor. We'll keep that as is. I think that should adjust. But I don't think we should export iron. So let's go ahead and stop that. And then the rest of these are all imports with the exception of the wood down here. I think there's only a few changes we're going to make initially, such as with the tooling workshops. We'll change those to the raw iron tools. This will require a lot more iron, but we did just stop that one trade route. Might still be too expensive, but we have a lot of locations we could build mines in if necessary. Yeah, we need more tools. So let's go and change that up. I know that it's saying this here, but it's fine. They'll eventually adjust. And then the other thing we looked at was the fruit. We're going to change this one location from maintaining a single crop to get us just a little bit more fruit. That'll also get us sugar, make up for me ending that one trade route. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is adjust our construction to prioritize that construction sector. And I think that's good. So we got it planned now. There's still quite a few things we need to do. We also need to get all these notifications here. Yeah, we can let it play here at speed 3 while we do them. Just want to make sure that we got the construction sorted out. So we'll take a look at our laws. Not really many changes we can make. We can go backwards when it comes to the rights of women, go to legal guardianship, which we're not going to do. And we can also get a police force. We're going to do the dedicated one rather than the local police force. Don't need to give the Gentry Assembly any more power than they already have. They are the only group that are currently in our government. And you can see that despite them ruling alone, we do have a righteous government. So full legitimacy. And that is of course because Nikolai Romanov, the Tsar, is a part of that interest group. As that gives you some really good bonuses for legitimacy. They also have 50% of the clout in our country, so very powerful. IG. You see that the armed forces are quite pleased with us, so we're getting some nice bonuses there. The gentry are pleased as well, so we'll be getting the aristocrat investment pool contribution efficiency bonus. We're also getting the 20% bonus to influence. Orthodox Church is happy, and so that gives us a 10% authority, while the intelligentsia is reducing our assimilation due to the crisis of identity. We don't have any institutions. I didn't look at that, but yeah, no institutions. And yet you can see we're still having bureaucratic problems. And that's kind of the initial problem for Russia, is all their tax waste, both at the federal level here with our lack of bureaucracy, and then as we've seen in the states. They do not have high tax capacity. We need to get rid of some of this here, just kind of close that up. These are our political lobbies. We can see that that dedicated police force has moved to consideration. We'll take a look at those political lobbies here in a little bit. Let's first look at this event. We're going to see a lot of these. This is tied to the Caucasian War. We'll see a lot of these events as long as this journal entry is going on. And most of them either give penalties to us and then bonuses to them, or we give penalties to them. Usually we don't get any bonuses from those ones. So we're going to go with this option here because I don't want to irritate the armed forces. But that's the conflict down here, guys. So you'll see with both of these two countries that we have truces with them that won't end, excuse me, until 1856. And so we won't be able to resolve this for 19 years unless something happens with the journal entries that will allow us to resolve it. So I won't be able to attack them. I think we can't afford to do a bit more construction, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll build another one of these construction sectors and then make sure we put that up at the top. Oh, we're on the other page now, huh? Put that up at the top so that we can get it done. I need to start doing that as soon as I start building it so I don't have to go through there. Now you see the night and day cycle is in the game now. That came with one of the DLCs. I think it's called Dawn of Wonder. And you zoom in and see your cities at night. They look nice. A lot of settings for how you want the day-night cycle to work. So you can have it like synced up with your local time. So it'll be the exact time in the game as it is, whatever time you're currently playing. Well, there's a lot of other things we still need to do here, so let's get it done, guys. So we need to enact some decrees, make use of our authority. We're already suppressing the intelligentsia, and we have consumption taxes for liquor. I don't know if there'll be enough of benefit to justify putting consumption taxes on anything. Like these ones that are going to cost us a lot of authority, they'll get us a bit of money. But yeah, you got to spend so much authority. Maybe tea, that's only 100. You can also do luxury furniture, but I actually don't want to increase the taxes on that. But tea would be fine. Try to reduce the consumption of it a bit. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put some consumption taxes onto the tea. Get us a little bit more money. And then the rest of our authority is going to be used for these decrees. Probably in Moscow here, because I really want to improve this location. So we also have to do the violent suppression down here. I mean, we don't have to, but we're going to. So that'll cost 200 authority. So some options that we might want to do in Moscow. We've already seen that they have a bit of an infrastructure issue. So let's go ahead and do that here. And then we'll also do the promote social mobility. And we'll encourage manufacturing industry here. And then also the greener grass campaign to get more people to migrate there. And do we still have authority points? We do, but I want to keep the enactment time bonus there. So we're not going to do anything else. If we were to do something, it would be to encourage manufacturing here. So we get that bonus in St. Petersburg, our capital. And the reason why we're focusing on Moscow instead of St. Petersburg is just because there's not really much available population for doing anything there at the moment. They have a lower population and they have a lot more buildings for that population to work. We've launched a successful incursion into their territory. Several of the villages controlled by the mountaineers has been burnt to the ground and the enemy is fleeing. So this is the choice that we can make on how much damage we want to do to their territory. So we say let none survive our scrutiny. That'll add a lot more devastation and a few worse penalties here, particularly to the mortality and the agriculture throughput. But it will result in more radicals as well. So we're just going to go with this option here. We don't want any additional radicals if we can avoid it. You can see that we already have twice the number of radicals as loyalists in our country. Next, let's go ahead and pause it so we can manage some diplomacy, because I haven't spent our influence yet. And while the 25% leverage generation is helpful if there's any locations where we are getting leverage, I do think we should invest a bit more of this. So right now we're spending 587 influence on the personal union with the Grand Duchy of Finland. We also have a puppet state in the Baltic. And then we have the 3 protectorates over here in Central Asia. And so this is the first thing that I think we should do. We can see that many of these are defiant. So we need to improve relations and their attitude towards us. We also need to reduce their liberty desire. So let's go ahead and start improving relations with all 3 of these protectorates. Try and get them to like us a bit more. And then let me just go into the diplomatic lens here. Towards the diplomatic actions, invite to our power block. This is one of the new mechanics in Sphere of Influence. We haven't looked at our power block just yet. Just managing other things. But we can see here, when we rank it by leverage, that we don't have any leverage with anybody. So therefore we could not invite anybody to our power block. We're going to start with Greece because they have an obligation owed to us. So let's go ahead and begin to improve relations with them. And in order to get a bit more leverage, we could give them a defensive pact or just guarantee their independence. You know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to guarantee their independence. So that will require 100 of our influence. So we're sitting at 689. I don't know if we want to spend any more, because remember we do want to get keep the leverage generation as high as possible. So the law has already progressed to adoption, no setbacks yet. 49% chance of success here, so doing pretty well. It's passing along quite smoothly. So we didn't look at the political lobbies. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we got the Russian-Prussian Association, which the intelligentsia wants us to do. So they want us to be friendly with Prussia. So in order to appease this lobby, we'd have to do these things. And if we did any of these, it would decrease their satisfaction. There's also the Anti-British League. This is what the Gentry Assembly wants us to do. They're already a little bit happy because of the current situation. They're a rival. Same thing with the Ottomans, they're also a rival. The armed forces are the only interest group in this lobby. And you know what, we might be able to further appease them by doing an embargo with the Ottoman Empire. I don't know that we want to embargo the British, because we're actually trading with them. So might not be wise. Yeah, we got a lot of trade routes with them. So I actually want to try and stay, I'm not going to say on good terms, but not make our relationship any worse. But with the Ottomans, on the other hand, do they have a conflict going on right now? Well, they're not actually involved in this yet, but perhaps they will become involved in it, if it even breaks out into war. But yeah, let's go and do an embargo. That's going to be another 150 influence here. And it appeases the Anti-Ottoman Association by +2, and so that just increases the interest group's happiness with us. And so the armed forces will be a bit more happier. We'll just take a look at their current opinion, though. They're already quite loyal, so +2 isn't really going to help us at all. But I wanted to do that anyways, to hurt the Ottomans. We just passed the dedicated police force. I wasn't expecting to do that so quickly, because we can't actually pay for it, you know, with the bureaucracy issues this is going to cause due to our first institution here. So definitely not going to want to try and upgrade that at all. I was thinking that would take a little bit longer, and thus we'd have more time to get this first tech done. But we got 6 years left before we get the Central Archives. So yeah, we're going to have some financial issues until then. Well, that's okay. We do have 3.10 million in our gold reserves. I know a lot of people like doing debt spending. I mentioned this in all my Victoria series, that I try and avoid doing the debt spending if possible. I know how advantageous it is, considering the fact that you're investing into your economy, and so eventually, despite the fact you got to pay interest on that debt, eventually it's going to pay itself off. So it is a good idea to spend that money, even if it's on credit, to try and get as much stuff constructed as possible. But we're not going to do that. We're going to try and avoid taking too much debt. You know, obviously when we go to war, we'll probably have some problems and have to go on credit. We didn't declare all our interests yet. Not that this is really important, because all the areas that we're actually interested in have already been declared. Yeah, we'll do this area since we have colonized part of Alaska. I guess North China as well. Yeah, we'll do England. Where's the other location that we want to do? I guess we'll do North India here, because we'll be focused on Central Asia quite a bit in this playthrough, you know, playing the great game against Britain. As they advance north, and we'll be advancing south. You know, we're currently working on that now, getting the opinion of all of these protectorates improved. Eventually there'll be a journal entry about this. I don't know if it's in there yet and just hasn't popped up. No, it just hasn't happened. Remember, we can't further colonize over here in Alaska until after we get that institution, which isn't really a priority, and also we don't have an IG that would support that law. And so it's not even an option to get some colonial affairs. So we won't be able to further colonize until we do that. Same thing with this area here. However, I believe we have a claim on it, and so we could let Japan colonize it. They're currently working on this location. All of those interests have just been activated. Once they finish up here, they should start colonizing that, and then we could just demand it. And they might just give it to us without actually having to go to war. This early in the game, they really can't compete with us. So as for my goals for this campaign, we're going to be trying to expand our influence as much as possible, adding new countries into our power block. And haven't looked at this yet. You see our current members. At the start, it's only our subjects that are currently in the power block. Here's our current principles. You know, we're a sovereign empire, which there are several different types of power blocks. We looked at the British. They also have sovereign empire. With the Prussians, they have a trade league. The Metternich system in Austria is an ideological union, so a conservative union. And then there's another sovereign empire for the Ottomans. Our current principles are vassalization. This gives us plus 25 authority per subject. Eventually this will give us further bonuses. So we'll get a plus 25% income transfer from our subjects, so that'll be pretty helpful. And this allows us to enact decrees on subject states, probably not as useful. So I don't know if we'll invest in that when we get our next mandate, which is supposed to happen in 3 years. That's when we'll get to either invest in our current principles or get new ones. And then we also have the Defensive Cooperation 1. This means that members of the power block cannot start or join wars against each other. These are the additional bonuses that we can eventually get. I don't know if we'll keep that one in place or not. There's a lot of good options in the principles. So let's go and take a look at these events here. So the Gentry Assembly is petitioning the government. They want us to reduce the rights of women back down to legal guardianship. So we're going to say they must understand the present situation does not allow for this. And this is going to result in us losing legitimacy since, they're in government, and also going to irritate them. But unfortunately, we'll have to take that because we are not going to work on that. There's also an event here in Kiev, the dye works accident. We're going to avoid getting the radicals. Instead, we'll just increase the political strength of the trade unions. It does appease them as well. Our goal here in this campaign, at least initially, will not be to liberalize. That's really not going to be our focus. It's just going to be building up the power block, increasing Russian influence, particularly in Central Asia, but elsewhere as well. So this is between the Ottomans and Moldavia. We might have to get involved in this because they're attempting to reduce their autonomy and then change their regime. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and say we're leaning over this way. This is a really cool mechanic that they now have. You can offer your support for various war goals. Now I don't think there's anything we can do in this particular situation because we're not currently the target of a sway or offer a support from another country. And so I think most of these would not be an option. Yeah, we can't do any of these. I did want to show it. And you can't even ask for an obligation here. So we might not be able to get involved in this. It's unfortunate because I eventually want to get Moldavia under our control. Again, the Ottomans are going to be one of our chief enemies in this playthrough as we try and reduce their power, take the territory, make our own way into the Balkans here, and maybe even take some of these other border states. We could improve relations with Austria, maybe even get a defensive pact with them. Let me see what they're willing to do. Nothing at the moment. It costs 300 to begin improving relations. Maybe something for the future, when we're not spending so much of our influence already. Now that we've taken care of all the major things, we can go ahead and put this on speed 5. Really start making some progress here. Just wanted to deal with all this stuff that we always got to take care of when you first start a new campaign, getting the construction started, maybe pass a law, which we did very quickly, and then just making sure we use our influence and authority. We're actually getting a request here from Moldavia to support their independence, and if we did this, we'd automatically support them in this current conflict. This costs 50 to maintain, but that'll allow us to get involved in the war there if we wanted to. Yeah, it looks like it's already started up though. Yeah, it's already started up. They'll probably be conquered pretty quickly now. I don't think this results in them getting annexed. I think they're just reducing their autonomy. So yeah, we're not gonna get involved just yet. Let's wait. Let's get our own economy sorted out first. Let me go ahead and take a look at the market actually. Looks like there's a little bit of a demand for coffee. I'm not seeing any actual buy orders here, but yeah, it's not really a concern. Artillery is though, so after we finish up with the gold mines, we'll want to reduce the cost of artillery. Same thing with the iron. Those are all things that we're going to work on. We can see that Japan is now colonizing that island, so once they're finished with that, then we'll demand it from them. And I think that's a return state one, a return state war goal, since we have a claim, and so it won't cost us as much infamy. We can't do anything else with Greece here. Let me take a look. We'll come back to the economy in a minute. Let me just take a look at our current leverage. It's at 44. And we can see that it's increasing quite rapidly. And we definitely have the most leverage. The British have a bit, as does Austria. Another event here. And this is going to result in us getting that journal entry that I told you guys about for Central Asia here. Also got the industrial boom, so that's some nice bonuses there. So basically what this requires us to do is to get all 3 of our subject states here to the puppet state status and their liberty desire down to 25 or lower. Another one of these convoy raiding events. And we're going to go with this one here. So we have a few ways that we can do that, or there's 2. So you can just do the decrease autonomy once the liberty desire is below 25. So that would be an option, but it does increase their liberty desire by 50, and it only makes them a dominion, does not make them a puppet. So you'd have to do this twice. So you got to get it down to 25 or below 25. Then take it, that'll add 50, and then you gotta wait again till it drops below 25 to use it one more time to make them into a puppet. But the other thing to consider here is that it adds 10 liberty desire to your other subjects and also really reduces their attitude and relations to you. So it's difficult to do all 3 of them using this button. Instead, what we want to do is try and get at least one of them to the loyal status, which would give us an additional option. We could instead do the diplomatic demand to reduce autonomy, and they'll be a lot more likely to accept it if they're loyal. As of right now, only 42% chance of acceptance, which if they refuse us, then that's a diplomatic play, so you got to do it through war. Unfortunately, one of the border fortresses in our subjects' land has been raided by a group of Kazakh rebels. And so if we go with this option, the locals are solely responsible for this disaster, then we'll decrease liberty desire in our subject state, and they'll get some significant penalties here as well. If we go with this option, dedicating more resources to protect our interests, our subject doesn't get as high of penalties, but it'll cost us bureaucracy, which of course that's going to cost us money, since we'll get less in dividends and also less in taxes. So that's what we're going to do, because I don't want to reduce the liberty desire, or increase it I should say, affect our progress there. And we also just don't want as high penalties. So we're just going to have to eat the tax ways. Again, that'll all get better once we get that technology researched. The Anti-Ottoman Association is requesting that we launch a diplomatic play against the Ottoman Empire. Successfully acting on this proposal will gain our government significant goodwill from the lobby. If we don't agree to this, then we're going to reduce their appeasement immediately. So yeah, we'll look into this. We have 5 years to do it. I don't think we actually need to launch it. We could just be part of one, and either they back down or we go to war with them. And so we're not going to do anything just yet. We have time, guys. We got plenty of time. I don't want to affect our economy like that just yet. We have a couple events here to look at. The first is the Russian Alaska earthquake. And so we're going to get some devastation in Alaska. It's just a matter of how much do we want to get, do we want to pay to help them out. Some relief money, which we'll go with that. But yeah, it's going to be quite costly, unfortunately. A lot of negative events here. You know, I did a Russian campaign like a week or so ago, and things went much better than they've gone now. That's always the story whenever you do a Let's Play. As soon as you turn that camera on, everything just goes horribly. So it seems that pro-Russian associations have become commonplace with the patriotically inclined Orthodox Church. I guess because both Prussia and us are rivals with the Ottoman Empire. I'm assuming that's the case. So we can encourage them. Russia's cause is our cause. This will result in the Orthodox Church joining the Russian-Prussian Association, which it sounds nice. They rhyme, Russian-Prussian. Also will ease the association, so increasing their approval by 3, and it will reduce the relations with the Ottoman Empire. We can say that they are entitled to their opinions, in which case they just join the association. We get no benefit from it. So you're just trying to avoid the relation penalty, I suppose, which we don't care about. Or our relations with the Ottomans must take precedence. Only a 10% chance that they join, 90% chance that they'll get the suppression of lobbyists, reducing their IG approval. Also, the Russian-Prussian Association would not be happy with that. We're going to go with this one. I don't really see any penalty of doing this. I suppose I don't really want the Orthodox Church to join this particular association. I was thinking we'd be more likely to befriend Austria just because they could help us out against the Ottomans. And the Austrians and the Prussians are often enemies. We got that 2% birth rate since we made the Orthodox Church happy. It just feels like Austria is a better choice because, you know, the Prussians, I mean, they can still help us, but I think that some of the other conflicts are going to take precedence. Like their conflicts with France and with the Austrians. Another event here. I think we might have already gotten this one. We're going to go with this one again because we don't want to irritate the armed forces. Now we have a failed incursion. So we can cover the retreat with fire and cannon, or just withdraw the forces and quietly regroup. Again, we're going to go with this option in order to keep our armed forces appeased. So we just entered the new year, 1840. We had a Cossack patrol attacked. And so if we do this option, we're going to lose bureaucracy and also have additional government expenses. But it will decrease their liberty desire rather than increase it. So we're going to have to go with that. But all this is quite costly. You can see how Russia's just like pumping money into these conflicts here and here. And also it seems that Prussia is not a rival with the Ottomans. They don't have any rivals at the moment. We have some additional influence to spend. So let's go and take a look at where we stand when it comes to leverage advantage and getting some of these countries into our power block. So Montenegro, we could improve opinion with them. They're a very tiny state over here. Yeah, why not? We'll go ahead and improve opinion with them. And then the other option I noticed on there was actually over here. I don't need to go back in there because I know where they're at. So let's improve opinion with them as well. And we could invest a bit more influence, maybe in improving the opinion of Finland. They really don't like us. They're defiant. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. That'll cost us 150. I think that's good for now. Just want to make sure we're using our influence. Now, given as we spend more of it, we're getting less of that leverage generation. It seems that we finally finished all the construction in our queue here, just the gold mines left. And so let's go ahead and get some other stuff started up. Looking at the market price here. So with the wine, I think we might set up a trade route there. I know that we are short on bureaucracy, but what we could do is stop the trade route here, since we're not getting anything from that anyways. In fact, many of these aren't really profitable. We might keep that up just in case there's a higher demand for it. I don't think we need to bring the tools in anymore either. So that'll save us a bit of bureaucracy. And then we'll go ahead and set up the trade for the wine. Maybe with France. Because I think we were trading them liquor and they weren't really interested in that. But the wine could get some good productivity out of that. Yeah, the French market is the second most productive, and you're going to get a higher amount than you do here. So that's what we're going to go with. We'll get that established. Not going to produce a lot. But we do have such a low demand for the wine currently, just based on what we're producing. I think everything else is good here. Now we just need to try and work on reducing the cost of our artillery and our iron. There's already construction ongoing for an artillery foundry by our private construction. And each of these produce 25. And so that alone is probably enough, but we'll go ahead and get one more anyways. Because this will be useful for once we go to war. Just take a look at where we already have. Okay, so I think it'd probably be best to do it, and they don't have qualifications here, but that's rarely an issue. This often doesn't seem very accurate to me. I don't know if they move, pops move for another location, but generally they can always get the staff they need, even if it says that they have the shortages. Might just be that people get the qualifications fairly quickly. Well, yeah, we're going to build one more, though it seems that is where they're building that one. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and build it in one of the other locations then instead. We'll build it here, and they actually do have the qualifications there. So we'll get that, and that should be enough because it's not a high amount of buy orders at the moment. Next, we're going to solve the high cost of iron. So that's going to be on the resources here. And you can't see it right now. Let me just show you guys. Here in the Ural Mountains, they have the iron ore deposits, giving us the 20% iron mines building throughput. And so this is where we're going to want to construct our iron mines. Yeah, we have a lot of state modifiers throughout our territory. Obviously a lot of wood, but also the black soil bonuses down here in Ukraine, which grant some very good throughput for the agriculture and plantation buildings. So just want to keep that in mind when we're doing our construction. So let's go ahead and do the iron mines throughout here. So we'll build, I think we need quite a few of these. Each one's only going to produce 20 at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to need a lot to really make any sort of difference in the actual need. It does look like qualification is going to be an issue in some of these locations. I think that's good for right now. We have other issues we need to solve with our tools, for instance. Those are pretty expensive. So we're going to take advantage of all those workers we now have in Moscow due to the edicts we have in place there. To construct, we'll just do 2 tooling workshops right now. I know we have a lot of demand there, but this is going to take a while to get all this constructed due to the numerous iron mines that we're currently working on. So yeah, that should help improve our financial situation a bit because, the artillery, obviously, we're the ones that pay for that since we pay for the military. And then also the iron. Our military needs iron, so that's costing us as well. We got a couple techs here. So these were, of course, unlocked by the natural spread. So this is a 10% bonus to the offense and defense for our Navy. And then this is a new production method for our textile mills and our furniture manufacturers. So let's take a look at the market and the prices for those. I know that the clothes are kind of high, as is the furniture. Furniture is really not too bad. I guess they're both not terrible. We'll see if this would actually be worth changing over to. Well, we'll use a lot less of the raw goods like the wood and the fabric, but we're gonna need a lot more tools. And that's already something that we're short on. So maybe we'll set up a trade route for tools since I did just cancel that one. Then we also see luxury furniture increase in cost. That might be good because we already have a trade route for that. And we'll produce more furniture, so that'll get cheaper. I'm going to go and change that. It says it's going to be profitable. And then the other new production method is in the textile mills, which is saying that it would be profitable. So we'll change it up. We're going to have to make some adjustments with our trade routes though, because yeah, we're going to have some issues, particularly with the dye. I mean, we're already trading for a lot of these things that are going to increase in costs. The luxury furniture, the dye, the luxury clothes. So the dyes have certainly got more expensive, but again, that should continue to adjust as the trade route picks up the slack there. We could still trade a bit more of this wine here. I feel like that price is not great at the moment. So yeah, let's go and start another export route, even though we obviously don't have the bureaucracy for it. If we can even be profitable, it looks like we could not. Okay, so here in Greece we'd only be trading 5 and not getting that much of a profit, so probably not worth it. We got another tech unlock, so this is some additional influence and a whole bunch of other benefits, particularly this 0.5% wealth education access. Now our richer pops will increase their literacy a little bit faster, which, as you see, we do not have a high literacy in our country, quite low, as is our standard of living, but not really our focus thus far. Now, unfortunately, we do have to end today's episode here. continuing to improve relations with everybody, just trying to add some other countries into our power block. And then also we want to complete this journal entry here, which this has not been going as well as it did in my first playthrough, guys. I think I might have to force them. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we just send off the offer and then they accept. I think one of them had a fairly high chance, like 40-something%. Yeah, that was 38. Was it these guys? They're 42% chance. So maybe they would accept. Yeah, we could try doing that. These other two are slightly lower. I don't know if any of them would accept, but we could try doing that in order to avoid the huge penalties to the Liberty Desire that we get through using this. We need to do something here soon, because one thing to keep in mind is that as the Liberty Desire gets lower, the amount that it changes every week also decreases by quite a bit. You're at around this point, it'll be decreasing by like 0.5 every week. And so it would be wise to go ahead and take some action here. You get some really nice bonuses if you're able to complete this in time. So we're going to try and get that done. So in the next video, we might actually do some conflict, maybe do something against the Ottomans, since we only have 3 years left to complete this lobby demand. I hope you guys did enjoy today's episode. If you did, make sure you have a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you're looking for anything to watch while you wait for the next episode, check out the front page of our channel. Got a ton of videos all sorted by genre. Should be able to find something that you'd enjoy. If you're looking for any links, check out the description of any of our videos. You'll find links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can also become a member here on YouTube. You'll find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you'll find links to all our social media if you'd like to follow us on those. So I do hope to see you guys on episode 2, and thanks for watching.